guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. This is sweet Michael Joseph Vaughan, or as we have all come to lovingly know him, as Little Monkey. We have been waiting for justice to come for Michael, and it is finally getting to that point. And with that is the first preliminary hearing after yesterday's status hearing for one of four suspects in the case of Michael's abduction and murder in 2021. He's finally getting his day in court, and hopefully Monkey's gonna get his justice.
Realizing my baby's gone, like, it feels like I'm in panic mode again.
The man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughan in 2021 appeared in court today for a status conference.
There's a piece of shit, and yes, I'm saying it out loud. It's a piece of shit, fat ass Stacey Wondra. God bless Brandy for being able to stare at his sorry ass, really. So this is yesterday. He was in court for about 10 minutes as Morgan Romero from This Is KTVB. She's going to give us some bit of information on what happened yesterday, and then today was the start of the preliminary trial.
I sat in on Stacey Wondra's hearing in Payette County this morning. Lasted less than 10 minutes because status conferences are mostly procedural. Stacey walked into the courtroom wearing dress clothes and shackles and took a seat at the defense table with his attorneys. Just feet away, Michael Vaughan's mother, Brandy, sat in the front row surrounded by friends. Stacey Wondra appeared for his status conference in Payette County ahead of his preliminary hearing this week. What was your reaction to seeing Stacey in court?
I started shaking. I wanted to say something so badly. Lots of things. But I know that that's not going to help any.
First off, doesn't Brandy look amazing? You guys remember what she's been through? And all her health issues, so I want to say that right out, that Brandy, you look beautiful. And I love the blue hair. I really do. I cannot imagine how she felt yesterday and, of course, today, because today she actually testified. She was on the stand, as well as Tyler. Because I have been in court with these nasty criminal suspects, okay, and they didn't do anything to my family member. So I cannot imagine what Brandy and Tyler are going through right now.
We want justice for Michael, and that's why we're here.
Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and persistent violator in connection with the death of little Michael Vaughan, who disappeared in July 2021 from outside his home in Fruitland. During Wondra's brief hearing Monday, the defense and prosecution told the judge they're ready to move forward with the preliminary hearing, which is where the prosecutor, Mike Duke, will argue there's probable cause to move these charges along to district court and a trial.
Discovery, because there's so much in this case, it is still ongoing. And I think both parties are aware of kind of the nature of that.
In Wondra's prelim, an Idaho court spokesperson says there won't be a jury or finding of guilt, but the prosecutor can call witnesses, and the defense can cross-examine and introduce their own evidence.
There will be some truths heard, and it's going to be really emotional. It's going to be hard.
Outside the courthouse, Michael's mom, Brandy, told me she also feels a sense of relief.
Now everybody can see what law enforcement has been doing, what the prosecuting attorney has been doing. They're still working, bringing in leads, following up on them. It's still an active, ongoing investigation.
Stacey's ex-wife, Sarah, and their two former roommates, Brandon.
And there's the four pieces of crap. I will not mince words when it comes to these four. I won't. Like she's going to say, that's Stacey Wondra above him, That's Sarah Wondra. I know they were in the midst of getting a divorce. I have no idea if that actually went through, and I don't know if I care. And then Brandon Shirtliff, bottom left, Adrian Lucene. All four are responsible, and there's probably others, okay, for the abduction of Michael Vaughan.
Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucien have also been named as suspects in this case. Sarah was charged in 2022 with failing to report Michael's death, but that charge was later dropped. According to Stacey's probable cause affidavit, he's accused of being present during Michael's abduction and later admitted to investigators he watched Sarah carry the boy into their home as part of an alleged scheme to sell the child for $10,000. Wondra also implicated the others in the boy's death by suffocation and burial in the backyard of their Fruitland home, just down the street from the Vaughns. We were there as 5 cadaver dogs later flagged that same location during a search.
I believe it was a coordinated effort. And I believe there's people still conspiring as well.
You saw that blue ribbon on Brandy's shirt there. One of her friends passed these out. It has a little monkey on it because that was the nickname that Michael was affectionately given.
Again, that was KTVB and Morgan Romero, and we're going to go through some of her other updates she posted today on Facebook and what have you shortly. Yeah. I think there is many more involved, and that's not even including Brandon's mother, Sarah's parents, folks that are aware of what happened to Michael, what was done, and have continued to basically be accomplices maybe after the fact for these 4 pieces of garbage. And I hope that they get charged as well. I know that Chief Huff has always stated that every single person will be charged, and I hope that Mike Duke, the state attorney, makes that happen. So I'm going to go through, these were live updates. I'm going to pull up Idaho News 6 has posted from the first day of the preliminary trial against Stacey Wondra. So this again is Idaho News 6, KIVTV. I will link to both KTVB and Idaho News 6 in the information of this video. They are the two that have been really keeping up on Michael's case, so I highly recommend following them if you are following this case. So there is the piece of garbage in court this morning, today, and these updates were looks like done by one of the reporters, looks like Karen Lear and Riley Shoemaker. So again, they're stating at the top here, this is an active and ongoing hearing. This article is being updated throughout the day. Check back for updates. So this particular preliminary hearing is not being it's not available to the public unless you go in person. So unfortunately, we can't watch it, on Zoom or, streaming, which is disappointing because I was hoping to. But thank goodness for these reporters who are giving us, updates throughout the day. And I'm going to play this here. It looks like this is some of Tyler's testimony here because he took the stand. And again, this is what's going on. Let me go down to the bottom because it does look like they put the updates from the bottom up. All right. So the hearing began this morning at 9 a.m. Court proceedings get underway as it states here. The prosecution began their arguments by laying out the probable cause they say would prove Wondra committed murder and then destroyed evidence to obstruct the investigation. The state argued that Stacey Wondra confessed to law enforcement, telling police Michael Vaughan was abducted and taken to his Fruitland home in July of 2021 before being put in a duffel bag and taken to another location in Kuna. That is Brandon's mother's house, but that'll come up again, I'm sure. Prosecutors say Wondra saw Vaughn buried in his backyard, but the boy's body was never located. And I will state that please check out the playlist. I went through a lot of this previously. I'm going to link to it in the information of the video. And as well as please check out my friend Brooks's channel, Crime Lines and Lies. We have a lot of information as far as these updates and you know, throughout the case, you know, from when Michael was abducted and all the updates from there, and especially going through when that video was released, when Stacey Wondra, well, he wanted a deal, okay? So he decided to talk to law enforcement, but that didn't work out so well for him. So it looks like at 9:10 a.m., Tyler Vaughn, that's Michael's dad, he took the stand this morning. The state called Michael's father, Tyler Vaughn, to the stand. As we previously reported, Tyler Vaughn is the person who noticed Michael was missing on the evening of July 27, 2021, and called 911. Vaughn told prosecutors at the time of Michael's disappearance he was not familiar with the Wondras or anyone in their home, which is about a half a mile away from the Vaughn's family home in Fruitland. Vaughn laid out what was happening at the family's home the day Michael went missing. His wife Brandy was at work. He had the day off and was home with the family's children. Now that would be Michael, Buggy, which was the baby at the time. She's the youngest, and the two older kids. Tyler recalled spending time playing monster trucks with Michael that day. He testified that he saw Michael playing in the family's living room when he went to wake up their then 2-year-old around 6:15 p.m. And it looks like he, quote, said she can be hard to wake up, he explained, so it took a few minutes. He then changed her diaper, ordered pizza for dinner, and then realized Michael wasn't in the home around 7 p.m. He looked all over the house, then called Brandy, who thought maybe Michael was hiding. And after he was unable to locate Michael quickly, he said he called the police around 7:20 p.m. And you know, there is still at least one person out there who still wants to blame this family, and it disgusts me to no possible end, okay? You need to follow the evidence, okay? Law enforcement has stated the 4 suspects are the ones that we just showed. Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrian Lucene. And they are the 4 main suspects in this case. Again, for those in the back of the room that still want to go after this family, they were cleared. So I will play, looks like they have a video further up, so I'll play any of the videos they have on here once we go through their updates and the time here. Let's see, Tyler was still on the stand here. It looks like 9:30 is when the defense team questioned Tyler's use of marijuana at the time of Michael's disappearance, because they're going to use any and everything to try to discredit this family and everyone else. And that's just disgusting, but that's how it works. Tyler said he usually smoked a couple of joints a day outside their home. Tyler testified that he smoked a joint between the time he woke up their sleeping toddler and when he noticed Michael was missing. Tyler told the defense that once police arrived at their Fruitland home that night, he and Brandy stayed in close proximity to the home, searching for Michael in the neighborhood, and he was dismissed from the witness stand at 9:40 a.m. And there he is on the stand, and God bless Tyler, really. All right, and then it looks like Brandy, she got on the stand at 9:40 a.m. Michael's mother, Brandy Vaughn, was called to the stand. She appeared in a blue and black shirt and tie-dyed blue hair, which she told Idaho News 6 is Michael's favorite color. Yeah, we all know that have followed. Michael loved blue, and you know what? I love blue a lot. It's my favorite color, and yeah, that definitely gets my heartstrings. Many in the courtroom are also wearing blue ribbons in Michael's memory. While Brandy began her testimony, members in the courtroom gallery were visibly emotional, wiping tears. Brandy recalled the July day Michael went missing. She was working at Albertsons when she received a phone call from her husband Tyler, who could not find Michael. She told him to look under their bed, his favorite hiding spot, but Michael wasn't there. Brandy testified that she immediately left work and called her older daughter on her way home, instructing her to get home right away. Brandy appeared visibly emotional when prosecutors asked her if she ever located Michael or saw him again. No. Vaughn stated sadly while grabbing a tissue. God, I don't know if I could have. I think I would have been bawling if I was in the courtroom for sure as well. Brandy told prosecutors she gave police several items to assist in their investigation that may include Michael's scent or DNA, including a shoe, his pillow, his favorite blanket, and a stuffed animal. There's Brandy on the stand today in court. And 9:55 a.m., she's still on the stand. Brandy told prosecutors at the time of her son's disappearance she had never seen or heard of Stacey and Sarah Wondra, who lived a half a mile away from their home. For context, Stacey Wondra is the only person currently charged in the death of Michael Vaughan. Yeah, and I cannot wait till the rest of these asshats are charged. Although Fruitland police publicly named 4 people as suspects in the case in 2022, including Stacey's then wife Sarah. Guess they're finally divorced. Sarah Wondra was arrested in 2022 and charged with failing to report Michael's death, but she was later released and charges were dropped. But they could be brought back at any time. Remember that. Michael's body was never found during an extensive search of the Wondras' home and backyard. Brandy told the defense it was a typical day at work. She spoke with her family, including Michael, during her lunch break around 4 p.m. The defense asked Brandy if it was typical for Tyler to smoke marijuana while watching their children. Yes, Brandy said. Brandy says during her immediate search of the neighborhood, she spoke with 2 women who were near the splash pad nearby. They told her they had not seen a little blonde boy at all, so she left. Now, we previously learned that little monkey had wandered to that splash pad once. He followed his older brother there. So, Mom and Dad would have thought maybe that's where he went. And again, I will go through these videos once we get through the updates here with from the court today. 10:10 a.m. Brandy Vaughn still on the stand. The defense questioned Brandy Vaughn about Michael's footwear. They noticed Michael's new pair of flip-flops were missing. Brandy said he'd only had them for 3 days and recalled how he would mix them up and put the shoes on the wrong feet, likely making it difficult for him to travel very far or fast. Although there was marijuana at the property, Brandy told the defense it was never in reach of the children and was kept hidden away. Brandy recalled law enforcement collecting items like Michael's toothbrush and taking DNA samples from every family member, including all of Michael's siblings. Brandy said Tyler didn't drink alcohol often and said it never concerned her that he smoked marijuana. Brandy Vaughn was dismissed from the stand at 10:17 a.m. but may be called to the stand again. I'm sure she will be. At least I would not be surprised in the slightest. All right. Now we have 10:33 a.m. Dustin Witt on the stand. The prosecution called Dustin Witt to the stand, who at the time of Michael Vaughn's disappearance worked in law enforcement in California. Witt has experience with SWAT and Canine investigations and testified that the FBI requested his assistance in the Michael Vaughan case. Witt and his Canine were flown to Fruitland in August of 2021 in the days following Michael's disappearance. Witt testified his bloodhound is trained to follow a scent. Police use items collected from the family to allow the dog to smell Michael's scent. Witt testified his certified bloodhound led officers to a location near Red Wing Street, which is about a half a mile from the Vaughn's family home. 10:45 a.m. Witt said the canine was on trail and cut across a front yard to lead detectives to a house on the corner of Medlark and Red Wing, where we've previously reported Stacey and Sarah Wondra lived at the time. Witt testified that his canine showed interest in the corner of the property near the fence to the backyard. He led the dog away from the home and took her off of the leash, where he said the dog turned back around and went directly back to the fence line. Past that home, The dog did not have trailing behavior. On another search, the canine also appeared to show good trailing behavior along 8th Street at a bluff nearby down a dirt road and led officers to an area of thick vegetation where Witt said he stopped the dog from entering the thorny brush. Smart dog. Okay. And then we go to 10:57. Dustin Witt still on the stand, but cross-examination. The defense team is questioning Dustin Witt, who was flown to Fruitland by the FBI with his canine to assist in the investigation of missing Michael Vaughan. Witt explained how scent training works and how his canine was selected from a breeder on the East Coast. The dogs began trail training around 8 weeks old and are ready for a handler around 1 year old. The defense questioned Witt about what types of items typically do or do not obtain a strong scent trail. Witt says any personal items like clothing or jewelry could work for a strong scent trail, but he typically avoid an item from a shared space like a piece of clothing lying on the living room that may have multiple people's scent on it. He would also not use an item that just been washed. Okay. Okay, it looks like he's still on the stand. 11:15 a.m. Dustin Witt told the defense they used Michael Vaughn's shoe and pillow to allow his certified canine to track a scent trail through the neighborhood. The defense asked if the dog's ability to follow a scent would be impacted by traveling on a plane. Witt says that is not an issue at all and is part of their training, even taking the canine on a helicopter in the past. Witt says canines undergo a week-long training and testing every year to remain certified. This particular canine has worked with his department for 7 years. She passed away in December due to medical issues. Poor girl. And thanks to her, major help. Good girl. Witt explained a testing scenario where dogs are taken through downtown Los Angeles. He says the canine used in the Michael Vaughan case has a 100% pass rate for all bloodhound certification testings. Upon arrival in Idaho, Witt said he and his canine went straight to the police department and went to work. Witt said they went to several locations near the Vaughn family home, including a home where deer antlers were out in the front yard. Witt said he had to correct the canine's behavior and tell her to get back to work. He said the dog had never seen antlers before, but quickly went back to her trail upon his correction. After the deer antlers, Witt said the canine picked up a trail and led him to an intersection across the street and down 8th Street toward a bluff. Witt testified the canine led officers to a corner house based off the scent used from Michael Vaughn's shoe. The dog also led him to an area of thorny vegetation, but he held the dog back from entering for her safety. Additional search crews came in at that time. The defense's questioning led Witt to agree it is possible for the dog to follow the trail of items that were possibly worn by another person or in the same house as Michael Vaughan. Come on now. We know that dog knew exactly who took Michael. 11:40, he's still on the stand, Mr. Dustin Witt. Prosecution showed Witt photographs of a home. Witt said he recognizes the house in the photographs as the home where his canine showed interest along the fence line and garage area. The dog alerted to a gate between two homes that led to a backyard. The photograph was entered into evidence. Witt was excused at 11:40 a.m. and it looks like that's when they went to lunch. And looks like they come back from lunch. 1:10 p.m. Julie Gibson on the stand. Julie Gibson was called to the stand. She has certification and expertise in handling and training cadaver dogs with the goal of locating human remains. Gibson was called to assist in the Michael Vaughan case when investigators searched the Wondra's Fruitland home and backyard in November of 2022. When Gibson arrived, much of the backyard was already excavated as crews searched for Michael Vaughan's remains. She emphasized her dog, Yodi, who was on scene during the Fruitland investigation, quote, does not false alert, unquote. Gibson testified her cadaver dog alerted at a location near the home's irrigation box, which was below the kitchen windows in the backyard. She testified that it's possible for a scent to travel through pipes in the ground into an area like an irrigation box that can hold a scent. Once the equipment was removed, the animal no longer alerted to the area. Gibson testified that she's undergone training that assists in situations where bodies have been buried and later moved. She says the conditions that day were cool and damp, which she described as good conditions for cadaver dogs to work in. And 1:35 p.m., she's cross-examination of Julie Gibson. Gibson explains her Jack Russell Terrier, Yodi, was almost 2 years old at the time she was deployed at the Wondra home. Yodi is trained to detect human remains, including historical cases in which bodies are buried in the 1800s. Gibson said the yard was dug up to a depth deeper than she was tall, except for a narrow perimeter around the fence line. The dog will alert to residential scent, and I believe that's what's happening that day, Gibson testified. (2 p.m.) Deborah Hurlbert, Canine handler. She was called to the stand. She's been training canines since 2002 and instructs canine handlers how to properly handle their dogs. Herbert was asked about her now retired dog, Bannock, who said she never had a false alert or missed a scent in a test environment. Bannock was deployed in November 2022 to assist Fruitland police in the search of the exterior of the Wondra property on Red Wing Street. The yard was already excavated when Herbert and Bannock arrived. Bannock was very much pulled me to that property, Herbert said. He did not know what property we were searching, she testified, leading her to believe he was following the scent of human remains. Herbert said Bannock was very much hunting the source of the scent of human remains, but he was never able to pinpoint the exact location. After leading the dog away from the area, he continued to bring her back to the same general location in the backyard. All right. 2:20 p.m. cross-examination. The defense questioned canine handler Deborah Hilbert. Her canine Bannock was her 9th German Shepherd. She was called to assist with the investigation through her certification with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. She also works with Idaho Search and Rescue Dogs. And it looks like they took a brief recess. All right. Bryce Grimman on the stand. Bryce Grimman is a deputy with the Washington County Sheriff's Office, but previously worked as a corrections officer who worked with inmates, including Stacey Wondra. Grimman testified that Wondra was placed on S-Watch while incarcerated on unrelated charges. He received word that Wondra was going to attempt to send the Vaughn family a letter around Thanksgiving. While searching Wondra's property, Grimman said he located a letter that appeared to be a work in progress and was addressed to the Vaughn family. Michael's mother, Brandy, became visually emotional in the courtroom during this testimony. Grimman looked at the letter in court, which he testified was signed by Stacey Wondra. Okay, 3:10 p.m. Grimman cross-examination. Grimman clarifies he received an email from a lieutenant who informed him Wondra may be attempting to send a letter to the Vaughn family around Thanksgiving. He testified he was instructed to intercept the letter, but wasn't explicitly assigned to go through Wondra's belongings. Grimman said it was regular practice to search through inmates' belongings while in custody. Grimman's father also worked as a detective with the Fruitland Police Department at the time. Grimman said he took a copy of Wondra's letter and sent it to his father at the Fruitland Police Department and returned the letter to Wondra's belongings. I wanted to see if he would finish it, Grimman said. Grimman testified that he was tasked with coordinating a FaceTime call with Stacey Wondra while in Washington County custody and investigators in Fruitland on November 12, 2022. Okay, and looks like at 3:25 p.m., Carson Starkey took the stand. State called Carson Starkey to the stand. He lived on Red Wing Street next to the Wondras in 2021, but didn't interact with them often. Prosecutors asked Starkey about a large wheel tricycle that Starkey has seen on the Wondras property behind the gate that separates the two homes. That's the big wheel I saw inside that gate, Starkey said confidently when shown a photograph. Starkey says he saw the bike on Wondra's property a few days after Michael Vaughan went missing and never saw it before that. 3:30 p.m., Carson Starkey's cross-examination. Starkey lived next to the Wondras for about a year. The Wondras asked Starkey to assist with auto work a handful of times over the year. I fixed a hole in their wall one time, Starkey recalled. Starkey was dismissed at 3:35 p.m. and the court took a brief recess. And looks like that is the extent of their updates up till now. I'm going to assume that they're going to update some more. But let me play any of the videos here that they have so we can hear any of the testimony that they are sharing with us.
Thanks for joining Idaho News 6 at 11. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, and I am live in Payette, where I have spent the entire morning inside the Payette County courtroom where the preliminary hearing for Stacey Wondra continues in the case of missing 5-year-old Michael Monkey Vaughan. Today's focus in court has been emotional testimony from Michael's parents as prosecutors begin laying out the state's timeline of the evening that he vanished nearly 5 years ago. Stacey Wondra is the only person currently charged facing first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction or concealment of evidence. Prosecutors also added a persistent violator enhancement because of his prior criminal history. And this morning, we heard from Brandy and Tyler Vaughn, Michael's parents, with much of their testimony focused on the timeline of that July 27, 2021 evening, the night Michael was last seen, and the frantic search that followed. Now, prosecutors stressed to the judge that investigators have ruled out the possibility that Michael simply wandered off. During Tyler Vaughn's testimony, the defense did question him about his marijuana use that day and that evening. Tyler acknowledged he had been smoking marijuana joints earlier in the afternoon and that evening, but both he and Brandy, his wife, testified there was never a concern about his ability to care for the children. Now, the defense has also countered the state's claims of an on-camera admission telling the court that Stacey has, quote, confessed to nothing and that there is no confession in this case as they challenge the state's evidence. Now, while authorities previously named 4 suspects in this case, including Sarah Wondra, Stacey's then wife, as well as Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucien, only Stacey Wondra has been formally charged at this time. This hearing is expected to continue with law enforcement testimony this afternoon as the state works to show probable cause to move this case toward trial.
So that was the bit of a video that they shared from Idaho News 6. And this is Morgan Romero of KTVB. This is her Facebook page. And she posted some videos on here. And she actually posted a couple interviews with Brandy. But I want to basically play this one here from today, speaking to Brandy after she testified this morning.
Telling Michael I love him and I'll see him later. And he asked me not to go. And I told him it was okay because I was going to be off. I had one more day of work and I was going to be off, and then we could go on our walks to the park. We frequented the splash pad a lot during summer, spring, and summer. And anger. I'm angry. I am. I'm angry that people support these monsters. I don't understand it.
I don't understand how they support them either, Brandy. I really, truly don't. And it's disgusting. It truly is disgusting. They are all monsters. And I don't even feel like that is descriptive enough to describe how disgusting Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrian Lucien are. I don't think that that's enough. But I think that that's kind of what I'm going to have to stick with right now. You know, unless you guys have a better one, let me know in the comments, because I would love to call them something else. But I don't know, as much as I try to not say a lot of the 4-letter words, it's very, very hard when it comes to these people, these and I don't even want to call them people. Let me just back up and just totally erase that. These disgusting pieces of garbage that hurt children, because they don't deserve any kind of respect. They don't deserve anything good. They don't. So that's kind of where things are. It looks like here after the first day of the preliminary trial. And my heart, my prayers, I'm virtually there for Brandy and Tyler and the entire family. And I just really hope that they feel that from all of us out here, that, feel the love from all of us, because I know they need every bit of that right now. But, all right, you guys, we're going to keep strong. Monkey strong here. We are Michael's Monkey's Army. And again, praise God that justice is starting to come for sweet Michael. And it's hard to express in words. It really, really is. And all I can say is I'm glad it's coming. And again, my love goes out to the entire family and everything that Fruitland Police Department and everyone has done to bring justice for Michael. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Hug your family tight, because you really never know. You really don't know.